Do you take karate or kung fu or some form of martial arts, or have you in time past? I want to get you to think about this: the wearing of the traditional karate uniform. Now, this message, this video is not just for the students or practitioners of martial arts in general, but it's for the instructors as well. Probably more so for the instructors. Just trying to get you to understand. If you don't already implement this idea that I'm about to present to you, then maybe you should consider it. You see, we must go to the origin of things. Did karate proper originate in America? The answer is no. Karate originated in Okinawa and Japan. Let's just leave it there for now. So, if karate originated there, along with karate came the karate uniform, or the dogi, which was also shortened to the term gi. So we know that a gi or a dogi consists of a jacket, pants or trousers, and a belt to hold the jacket together. This has been worn for many, many years, hundreds of years. So, is it necessary in today's time to wear a karate uniform? Or was that only applicable to the time in which it was actually created? Of course, it applied then because that's the day and time that that particular system or art came into existence, and that's what they wore during that time culturally. But what about the 21st century that we're in right now? So this is important. We must understand that when we wear a karate uniform, even though we've been doing it for a while, I started out wearing a judo and a karate uniform when I was very young, and I still wear one today, and a kung fu uniform today. But do you have to? Are we just simply keeping alive someone else's culture? I think the latter is true. You see, first of all, a karate uniform is not from our culture. It is from someone else's culture. As long as we have that understanding in our daily activities as it relates to martial arts, we will be okay. But to believe that you must wear a karate uniform when you train all of the time is not very healthy, because the world in which we live is different than the dojo or the dojang. So what I mean by that is this: we wear the karate uniform in our classes as a point of tradition, for one. Even though we're not Japanese and Okinawan, most of us in America. And secondly, and akin to that at the same time, is we wear it for relaxation, flexibility, because it's loose, so that we can perform the techniques and have something to train in. It just happens to be that traditional garb. But what about the real world? Do you see people walking up and down the street in your neighborhood and in your community and in the shopping malls wearing karate uniforms? No, you don't. It is only a training outfit, only used or should be used in a training environment. But if you were in a street confrontation, would you have to run home and get your karate uniform just so that you are comfortable and you can exercise your high kicks and your sweeps and so forth? No. What am I saying here? I'm advocating this to you right now. Every instructor that has traditional uniforms, and their students are wearing these uniforms in the training hall or the dojo, dojang, you need to start implementing street wear as well. In other words, you need to wear street clothes in some of your sessions to better identify with how a street confrontation would be if your student or you had to deal with that situation. So when you're in the street, you're wearing casual dress, sporty clothes. Those are some of the things that you should be wearing in some of your classes. Not always the traditional gi or the traditional martial arts uniform, because it's very unrealistic. When you get into the street, you're wearing jeans. Sometimes you're wearing something that's tight. Sometimes you have a jacket on or a coat on. You need to train in these scenarios because they are as close to reality. The reality that you are going to be dealing with in a street encounter. As long as you're inside your martial arts school, the confines and the control of that environment, everything feels good. You're used to wearing that inside that school. But does your mindset change when you get outside of the karate school or the kung fu school, and when someone steps in front of you in your space and they're about to assault you or put their hands on you or your family member, do you have a quick flashback in your mind, I wish I had the proper uniform on so I can handle this person? Do you ever think like that, or have you ever thought like that? As I said before, this is really important. You need to train in urban wear. Again, you need to come into the class sometimes and you have gym shoes on or boots on and blue jeans and a tank top or a muscle shirt or a sweatshirt on. Anything other than your karate uniform that you are accustomed to wearing. Instructors, you may want to implement this in your program. Now, I suggest if you are open 5 days a week, this is just a rough example. If you're open 5 days a week, I suggest that you have at least 1 to 2 classes per week wearing street clothes. And that probably more than likely should be the one where you're actually going through self-defense. I understand katas or forms and randori and ukemi, those types of traditional exercises and training sets, if you will, and you might want to wear your traditional uniform in that instance. But when it comes down to the self-defense, if you at all do self-defense in your class, I hope you do, self-defense for the real world. So if you have a self-defense session or segment in your program, wear street clothes. Wear the same things that you would have on in a street situation or in the streets. Get away from the traditional everything when you're in class and start practicing for the real world that we all live in every single day. That was really it. So sometimes in my class, we wear street clothes and not just the traditional uniform, because we want to be as realistic as possible for the real thing when we get in the street. And you won't be wearing a karate uniform outside. That was it. I hope you think on these things. This is Brother Teacher. So long.